Just continuing with my recording of the instruction from lesson 2. This is the second part of that instruction of lesson 2. We're continuing to look at the concept of playing mini bridge, and we've introduced the idea of a trump suit. As we heard in part 1, playing in a trump contract often gives us an advantage. So how do we choose which suit is trumps? Well, in mini bridge, the declarer gets to choose firstly whether or not there is a trump suit, and if they would like a trump suit, they can choose which suit to specify. Now, the key thing here is to specify a suit where between declarer and dummy, your side holds the majority of the cards. And the guidance here is that once you've got at least 8 cards between declarer and dummy in a particular suit, then that suit may well be a good choice as the trump suit. Having at least 8 cards between the two hands is known in bridge and mini bridge as a trump fit. And it's a really important thing to consider both in mini bridge and later on when we get into bridge bidding. And the importance of this is because if we've got at least 8 cards in a particular suit, the opponents will have 5 or fewer of those cards. So we've got control of that suit, and it's much less likely that the opponents or the defenders will be able to use their trumps to win tricks. So we are much more likely to be able to play the hand and win more tricks ourselves. You might ask, given that there's an advantage in playing in a trump suit, do we always choose to play in a trump suit? And the answer is, well, no, not always. And that's because, firstly, there might be hands where between declarer and dummy, we don't have an 8-card trump fit. There's no particular suit where we've got at least 8 cards between us. So we haven't got an ideal candidate to choose a suit as trumps. Also, because of the way that scoring works, sometimes we could score more points for playing in well, always we could score more points for playing in no trumps. So often it might be better for us to choose to play in no trumps. We'll score more points and achieve a better result on each hand. So sometimes we would choose specifically to avoid playing in a trump suit. As you know, there are 4 suits in bridge and in mini bridge, and the game is structured in a way such that not all the suits are the same. And we can split the suits into 2 groups, what we call major suits and minor suits. Now, the major suits are hearts and spades. And the way that the game and the scoring is structured means that if we are playing in a heart or a spade contract, or we're playing with hearts or spades as trumps, to achieve the game contract bonus, we would need to win 10 tricks as declarer. So that's slightly harder than if we were playing in no trumps, of course, where we only need to achieve 9 tricks to get a game bonus. But of course, playing in hearts and spades with the advantage of trumps is often slightly easier. So it's slightly easier, but we have to win an extra trick. So the guideline here is always in bridge and in mini bridge. If you know you have an 8-card trump fit between declarer and the dummy hand in either of the major suits, so if you've got between dummy and declarer, you've got 8 cards in either hearts or spades, you should choose to play in one of those major suits as the trump suit. And also, if you've got at least 25 or more combined high card points between the 2 hands, you should expect to be able to win 10 tricks, which means you should choose to play in a game contract and try for your game contract bonus. If you've got fewer than 25 points, you would simply play in a part score where your target would simply be 7 tricks. Let's look at the minor suits. So the minor suits are clubs and diamonds. And here the scoring is structured so that we don't score as many points in clubs and diamonds. And actually, to achieve our game contract bonus, we need to win 11 tricks if we are the declarer in either a club or a diamond trump contract. So the minor suits are much more difficult to score points in, and it's much harder to make a game contract bonus because 11 tricks out of 13 means you're only allowed to lose 2 tricks to be able to make your contract. That means you need to win an awful lot of tricks. You need a few more high card points to be sure that you're going to be able to do that normally. Okay, so the guidance though is simply that if you've got an 8-card fit in a minor suit, normally look to play in no trumps because you can score more points and you can achieve a game bonus with only 9 tricks, as we saw last week. But you should be careful here. You want to make sure that you've got some high cards in every suit if you're going to play in no trumps. So if you don't have that situation and you have one or two very weak suits, it might be better to play in the insurance of playing in a trump contract in either. So you could choose either clubs or diamonds if you've got a good fit in clubs and diamonds between, or clubs or diamonds between declarer and the dummy hand. Okay, so you would normally only play in a minor suit contract if you felt that it was unsafe to play in no trumps. And of course, if you were going to play in a minor suit contract, you'd need to make 11 tricks. And the guidance there is you normally need to expect to have 27 or more high card points to be able to make that contract. So this is all a factor of the scoring. The key thing to remember here is that the major suits are far more important. And whenever we can find a fit in a major suit contract, we should always look to play in that. With the minor suits, we often tend to prefer to play in no trumps. And we'll see from the examples in the hands that we play this week, we'll see how we evaluate which contract to play in and which suit to make as trumps. Now here's a flowchart. This is from the No Fear Bridge website. Now, No Fear Bridge has got some excellent resources for learning minibridge. It's also got some great stuff for learning bridge, and I'm going to be referring students to No Fear Bridge many times during the course. This is the flowchart they've developed to help students decide which contract to play. I've printed out a copy of that, and I'll give this to my students in the lesson, and we'll be using this as guidance to help us determine which contract to be in. The key thing here, there's a lot on here, but the key thing here is this first box here. Do we have 8 or more cards in a major suit, hearts or spades? If we do, we would want to play in a heart or spade major suit contract. And then all we have to do is evaluate how many high card points have we got between the two hands. If we've got more than 25 or more, we should be playing in a game contract. Our target would be 10 tricks in the major suit. If we don't have 25 or more, so if we've got less than 25, we would play in the safety of a part score where our target is 7 tricks. Most of our hands in the lesson are going to be around that decision and looking at that. The rest of the boxes on here, we'll come to use those as we work through the lesson, and you'll see examples of that as we play the hands and make decisions on contracts. So here's some examples of hands that we're going to play in the lesson. Let's look at this first one on the left here. So let's look at the points here. Now, I've helpfully given you the points in the box here on the left. We've got 14 in the north hand, 11 in the south, 12 in the east, and 3 in the west. Okay, so the pair with the most points are going to be north-south, and the player with the highest number of points on that declaring side is north. So north will be the declarer. South will put their hand down as dummy, and north will be able to look at both their own hand and the dummy and choose the right contract. And here, if they look at both hands, they can see that we've got a very nice position here where we have got actually 10 cards in the spade suit. So spades is a major suit. We'd like to play in a major suit if possible, and with 10 cards in a major suit, that's a great position to be in. So we definitely want to play it with trumps as spades. We want to play in a spade trump contract here. So the only decision now is how many combined high card points have we got between the two hands. And actually, if we look, we've got 14 in the north hand, 11 in the dummy, and that means there are 25 high card points. We would definitely expect to be able to make at least 10 tricks on those cards. And so we should set our target as a game contract in spades. So that means we have to win at least 10 tricks. If we win 10 tricks, we'll get a game bonus. If we win more than 10 tricks, we'll get extra points as well. We'll go over scoring later on in the course, but the key thing here is we want to play for that game contract bonus. And actually, when we get to play this one in the lesson, we should find that what will happen here is that the East will be on opening lead. They're going to start playing their hearts. They've got some lovely heart cards here. They're going to win the first trick with the Ace of Hearts. They'll even win the second trick with the King of Hearts. But when they continue with the heart suit, what's going to happen is Declarer is going to be able to trump the third heart with one of their low trumps, and Declarer will then take control of the hand and will be able to win lots of tricks. Now, they're still going to lose one trick in the diamond suit, so they're going to make 10 tricks here. I think that's, yeah, 10 tricks is what they're going to make. They're going to make 3 tricks in clubs, 1 diamond, and they lose 2 hearts, and they will also lose a diamond trick. So they will make 10 tricks when we get to play that hand out in the class. Let's have another look here. The example on the right hand side, again, here's the points here. They're shown just in the bottom left hand corner of the hand diagram. So if we have a look, East is the dealer on this hand. They would announce their points first. East has got 19, South has got 5, West has got 9, and North has got 7. So clearly the pair with the most points, the declaring side, are East and West. And of the declaring side, East has got the most points. They would become the declarer. So they would choose the contract. So the first thing that happens in mini bridge is that the dummy, which is West now, which is declarer's partner, they will put their hand on the table face up so that declarer can have a look at the cards and choose the right contract. And when declarer does that, they'll notice that we have the luxurious position of a nice fit in a major suit. Here, declarer's got 5 cards in hearts, and West has got, or dummy has got 4 cards in hearts. So there's a nice 9-card fit in a major suit, the heart suit. So we would definitely choose to play with hearts as trumps. We will play in a trump contract with hearts as trumps. Okay, so the only question now is, what's our target in terms of tricks? Well, let's have a look at our hand. We've got 19 points. Our partner's got 9, so there are 28 points between the two hands. We should comfortably be able to make at least 10 tricks with that number of high card points. So declarer would choose to play in a game contract in the heart suit, and the target then would be 10 tricks at least. They would have to make 10 tricks at least to make their game contract bonus. If they don't make 10 tricks, the defenders would score some bonus points. And here, when they play this one out, it looks to me like they're going to lose a club at some point, and they'll lose a spade. So when you play this one in a lesson, hopefully East will be declarer in the spade contract. They should be able to make 11 tricks in a heart contract. So East will be declarer in hearts, and they should be able to make 11 tricks and secure their game contract bonus. Okay, so let's look at a couple more examples that we're going to play in. This hand here are the high card points broken down on this part of the screen here. And let's have a look. So this time West is the dealer. So West would announce their points first. They've got 17. North has got 8, East has got 6, and South has got 9. So the declaring side, the side with the most number of points on this deal, are East and West, and the player on the declaring side with the most points is West. So West would become the declarer. East would put their hand face up on the table as the dummy, and now West would be able to choose the contract to play in. And West would look at the hands now and see that we don't have a fit in spades. We've only got 2 spades in each hand, so we definitely haven't got a major suit fit in spades. And what about the other major suit, hearts? Well, here we've got 7 cards between us. 7 cards is not ideal for a major to play in a trump contract. There might be times when we do that, but it might be better not to play if you've only got 7 cards in the heart suit. And that's because if you've only got 7 cards, the opponents have got a few more cards in that trump suit now. They might be able to make tricks themselves by trumping some of your winners, and it may become difficult for you to play the hand. Okay, so we would choose not to play in a major suit here because we don't have an 8-card fit in a major suit. So let's have a look what we do have. In diamonds, again, we've got 2 diamonds in the West hand and 4 in the East. So that's not particularly good either. That's not a fit. But we do have a fit in clubs. We've got 5 clubs in West and 4 clubs in East. So we have a fit in clubs. So the only question now is, would we rather play in no trumps, without any trumps, or would we rather play in clubs? And here the answer is that we'd rather play in a club in a trump contract with clubs as trumps. That's because it would give us insurance to make the play easier here. And the reason is, look at our spades. We've got two very poor spades in our hand, and also in the dummy. We've also got two very poor spades there. And the likelihood is that the opponents have got some very good cards in spades, and you can see that. So the opponents actually, if we played in no trumps, the opponents could win the first 6 tricks in spades straight off, and they may well win a diamond trick later on as well. So they can easily win at least 7 tricks if we played in no trumps there. So that would be quite difficult for us if we were to play in no trumps. We wouldn't want to do that. So by playing with the insurance of a trump contract in clubs, hopefully once we've played our 2 spades from both of our hands, we can decide to trump one of the opponent's spade cards, and that will make life easier for us. So it would be much easier for us to play this hand in a club contract. Let's have a look at how many points we've got. Well, we've got 17 and 6, that's 23. That's nowhere near enough to play a game contract bonus. So with just 23 high card points, we would prefer just to play a simple part score contract. Our target is 7 tricks. We should make at least 7 tricks here, but there's no way we can make 11 tricks for a game bonus. So our contract would be a part score in clubs. And the last example here, another hand that we'll probably play today in the lesson, is this one here. East is the dealer. They've got the arrows pointing at east just to let you know who the dealer is. And again, the point counts in the 4 hands. East has got 8, West has got 8, and North and South have got, South's got 13 and North has got 11. So clearly the declaring side, the side with the most points are North and South, and the player on the declaring side with the most points is South. So South will be the declarer in this contract. North would put their hand on the table as the dummy. So let's have a look again. Well, there's no fit in either of the major suits. There's only 6 cards between the 2 hands in spades and only 7 cards between the 2 hands in hearts. So we should look now at the minor suits, and let's have a look what we've got there. We have got 3 cards in diamonds and 5 cards in diamonds in the dummy. So we have a fit in diamonds. We don't have a fit in clubs. We've only got 5 cards in clubs. So the question is, do we want to play in diamonds? And the answer here is actually, because looking at our 2 hands, we've got good cards in all of the suits. We're not particularly worried about any particular suit here. We might choose to play in no trumps rather than in diamonds. But we've only got 24 combined high card points. That wouldn't normally be enough to make a game contract in no trumps. Remember, to make a game contract in no trumps, you need to make 9 tricks, and you need 25 points for that. That's what we found last week. So South should choose a part score contract in no trumps. It says North on the slide here, but it means South should choose a part score contract in no trumps. So this time, South would actually prefer not to play in a trump contract. They might score more points by playing in no trumps, and the target here would be 7 tricks, a part score. And we'll play these hands in the lesson, and you'll have plenty of practice. Okay, so the last thing while we're in this lesson is just to start to think about scoring. Here's a chart that describes the scoring in minibridge reasonably well. It's from No Fear Bridge, so I'm going to be recommending that we use No Fear Bridge. There's a lot of good resources there available for us to learn about minibridge. You'll get a copy of this from me, and I'd like you to go through it. There's also some good resources on the No Fear Bridge website. There's a couple of videos to explain mini bridge scoring. So as part of your homework this week, I'm going to be asking people to study on mini bridge scoring, either by reading this chart or reading the textbook that I recommend, or I'm going to also signpost the excellent resources on the No Fear Bridge website for you. Okay, so that's the end of the lesson. We're going to play 8 hands, hopefully, in the lesson today. If you missed the lesson, hopefully these 2 YouTubes will help you catch up on what you've missed. And I hope to see you in the classroom as soon as possible. Hope you enjoy your bridge, and see you next time. Bye.